much as you don't want to admit it, it can get in your head when somebody's playing that well against you. You start to try and be too precise. It's a big net. There are spaces to hit. He just makes it seem like there aren't any. An 83% save percentage. I mean,
that's insane.
Yeah.
That's absolutely insane. We have a couple brother combinations on this team too. The Stotts brothers, Austin and Randy. They have 38 points, and then you have the Thompson brothers with the combined 54 points. So I'm sure we're going to see those guys, try to find the back of the net tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Thompsons obviously are going to be critical. The Stotts, I don't even know who you'd say is the more dangerous Stotts right now. Because Audie is another junior age player who has absolutely been brilliant here. But I think there's going to be an unsung hero for them if they're going to do it. I think maybe Ty Thompson. Tyson Bomberry's been great at the other end, but I think Ty Thompson is having a sneakily good tournament. Yeah. And, he's not going to get a lot of attention because of all the other names, but he is really important for them. I think he brings a lot to the team when everyone else, because basically teams focus on some of these other guys, on Lyle and Randy and Austin. And I think Ty could really do some damage.
I think another one of the brothers is Hyanna that has had an awesome tournament playing defense. And you've seen him play, in the MSL as well. So one of those guys that's really stepped up for this team too.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Hyanna is I thought back in the day he was maybe the best pure shooter of the four of them. I remember watching him play in CLAX, and he was ripping it up. He's just a pure shooter. It's a gorgeous motion. He switched to playing a transition role with the Georgia Swarm this year, and that really made a difference for them because they needed that depth from him. And I think Hyanna has stepped in really well into that role, and he looks completely comfortable with the long pole. But I mean, we've seen him play goal in the last night tournament the last 2 years.
Seems like he can play any position.
He can. There's no question. He can do anything you want.
Let's move to USA Australia. That's going to be the 9 o'clock game.
Yeah.
USA, the top seed, 5-0. They beat the Iroquois on the first night. They have a day off. They play 4 straight games. They win all of those. Is this the team to beat in this tournament?
Yeah, they're certainly the team to beat tonight. I think you just look at the results of the USA-Australia game, and the U.S. are clear favorites. Australia, great job last night, an amazing performance. They're so gritty, and they'll never stop. That's the thing with the Aussies. They do not stop. They'll keep coming at you, but I think just the level of talent is just a bit too much on the U.S. side.
Yeah.
And I think obviously it would be people are saying that it's going to be U.S.-Canada. It'd be maybe a bit of a surprise if the Iroquois win. Not a huge surprise. It'd be a huge surprise if Australia can pull this one out.
Yeah, and important to note, Jack Kelly out for Team USA, John Galloway, their starting goalie, and Ryan Brown with 20 goals, leading all scorers right now in goals category. For the Australia, you mentioned the 4th seed. They are 3-3. Sean Aaron has been standing out to me as a huge part of this team on defense in the goal. He's really stood tall for them. And then 8-8, 16 points for Chris Robertson at attack. I mean, he's dodging hard, going against these defenders and not backing down. He's been a huge spotlight for this Australian team.
Yeah, I think Australia really gets its strength from its depth, though. To me, Chris Robertson's been really good, but he hasn't been the guy. Right. I think, Cahill and the rest of the gang are all just stepping in and really doing it by committee. And I think that's important because if you have a guy who you're relying on against the U.S., they'll just send somebody and stop him.
Yeah.
Because they've got the people to do that, right?
Yeah.
And they can choose from among a few guys they want to just lock on him. So I think you'd better be getting it from different sources. You better be getting it from inversions. You better be getting it from various types of dodging. You've got to have some variety in the way that you attack. And I think that's been their real strength. But Sean Aaron has been amazing in net, just making big saves and making, again, the timely saves that you're really looking for. That I thought last night a couple of amazing stops that on looks that could have changed the tone of that game really quickly.
Yeah, got to mention too, got to give my D-middies some love. I love the D-middies for Australia. They've been playing really well. They're going to have a huge night, obviously against the USA midfield. And then, for me, I think just the grit and kind of the tenacity that Australia plays with. We saw it last night against Team Israel and Callum Robertson, and how physical they can get on that end.
Yeah, I was going to bring up Callum Robinson too because he's clearly a star back there for them, and I mean, as a Peterborough guy, I love his game because I grew up watching guys who were on the verge.
You play like that a little bit too, right?
Occasionally. I haven't. I like to think I don't, but I do. I've got. You can take the boy out of the burrow. You can't take the burrow out of the boy.
Yeah.
And I've grown up watching guys who are on the edge at all times.
Yeah.
And sometimes go over the edge. And he went over the edge a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what happens. And but then he gives them the
ear.
the ear. The Hogan
taunting
thing.
the crowd.
And you know what? Like. He owned it. He was like,
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go and serve my time, and my mates are gonna do this, and we're good. But he has to be huge for them. But he's got to have support.
Yeah.
You know, he can't be trying to do too much, which is what occasionally happens, right? He's like, I'm over here. I got to help with the guy over here. Well, who's helping back over where you just were?
Right.
So I think discipline, not just in not taking penalties, but in knowing when you can help out somebody else is going to be critical, because some teams, they can get away with it. Against the U.S., if you leave guys early or for too long, you're in big trouble.
You're well said. Well said. I got to do this. I got to ask for predictions. I know you got to get out of here and cover your game on field two, but let's start with this game behind us, Canada-Iroquois. Who do you got?
I actually think it's a really hard pick. I'm going to go with Canada because I might not be able to go home if I don't. But no, I actually think Canada will pull it out. But I don't have huge confidence. I just think the Iroquois are getting better and better.
Right.
But I'm going to go with Canada because I think they have a little more depth still, and I think they're a little further along the process because they're perpetually further along the process than where Iroquois is. But I'll tell you, over the next 4 years, when you look at how young the Iroquois team is, especially on defense, and how much they're improving, boy, they're
scary
something
team.
To look out for. It's no longer is it two and everybody else. It's like they're legit contenders.
Yeah, I would even say that there's going to be a few more teams that continue to kind of push the rest of the four teams.
Yeah, close the gap
that are on top. Let's go to USA Aussies. The 9 p.m. game here on Field One. Who do you got?
USA.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well said. We're going to be right back. Steven Sam, thank you so much. I know you got to go.
Always my pleasure.
Field 2. Always really appreciate it. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Blacks All-Stars coverage. I'm Josh Hank Hawkins here at Field 1, and last night I had an awesome interview with a lacrosse legend, Richie Moran, and we're going to show you that in a second. Richie Moran just came out with a book as well, and you can buy that book at richiemoran.com. Again, Richie Moran's book is available at richiemoran.com, and he'll also be able to sign that and then send it to you. So very, very special book. He's going to talk about it in this interview right now. So I'm joined now by a tremendous man, a really special guest, Richie Moran, an absolute legend of the sport of lacrosse. I mean, you're on 9 or 10 Hall of Fame lists. You played at Maryland. You won 3 national championships as a coach at Cornell. You were a Team USA head coach in '78. The list goes on. You've been a part of international lacrosse since the '60s.
That's correct.
Let's just start off by welcoming you here to Netanya. You got here this morning. What's been your experience so far in just the few hours that you've been here?
Well, let's look back 5 years ago.
Okay.
I'm at a national convention. Scott Neese, who's organized this and running this, came up to me. He said, "You have a few minutes. I'd like to talk to you about how you started lacrosse in Ireland." Actually, lacrosse was in Ireland until 1933. Then it was disbanded, and we brought it back in 2001. So we had a beautiful book on how to do it, what steps to take, and I gave the book to Scott. And Max was with him, Max Sebo. And the 10-minute conversation lasted 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I saw the enthusiasm he had, and then I recommended some people, Billy Baroza, Howie Bork, and get those people involved. So coming off that plane today and coming here and watching the enthusiasm, and I saw a lot of young players with lacrosse sticks.
Yeah.
And I grew up in an ethnic neighborhood, and it was Jewish families, Polish, German, Italian, and you get great values for people.
Yeah.
And to look around tonight, I mean, I'm watching people more than I'm watching games.
Yeah.
Even though Ireland lost a heartbreaker to England 11-10.
Right.
So watching the people and the reactions and knowing that this someday could be the sport of Israel.
We're in the Middle East.
Exactly.
We're in the Middle East right now playing lacrosse. That's pretty special.
You know, it's interesting. I went to Jerusalem today.
Yeah.
And I have read the Bible a number of times.
Yeah. So I'm joined now by a
10.
Right.
So watching the people and the reactions and knowing that this someday could be the solitude, a chance to relax. And as I was going through Jerusalem, things in that Bible popped out. And Jerusalem is certainly an unbelievable gift to the world.
Yeah.
And
everyone has a piece of it, right? You know, everyone has some sort of tie
no question.
or kind of lineage. It's in everyone's blood, right?
Exactly.
Speaking of books, you just came out with a book.
Yes.
And it's available at richiemoran.com.
That's correct.
Let's talk about what's in that book and kind of what do you share to the world in that book?
I share the fact that my parents were both born in Ireland. Mm-hmm. My dad was born in Sligo. My mother was born in Clare. My mother came here in 1915. She was a domestic for the Vanderbilt family. My dad came over in 1916, and he was a designer, ship designer.
Wow. And
he was promised a job. And in those days, unfortunately, Irish and Italian weren't getting jobs.
Yeah.
Especially from coming across the ocean.
Right.
And he was going to go back. He met my mother at a dance. Decided to stay an extra 2 weeks before he went back. Got drafted into the First World War.
Oh my gosh.
So that's an interesting history in the United States.
Wow.
When you registered, you came into the United States, you're eligible for conflicts or war.
Right.
So bingo, he's drafted.
Yeah.
Didn't know the Star Spangled Banner. Was an American citizen.
Right.
In fact, didn't become an American citizen until 1919. And I'm the last of 8 children. Had 5 brothers in the Second World War. My oldest brother went to West Point, and unfortunately he was a pilot and got killed in 1944. But my parents did a lot, sacrificed a lot. And the book is about what they did for me, what they did for our family. My brothers and sisters grew up. Their youth was depression, and their adulthood was the war.
Right.
So, Tom Brokaw wrote a beautiful book, The Greatest Generation. I recommend every parent to get that. Let their sons and daughters read that. Because unfortunately, in high school today, we forget the Revolutionary War, Civil War, all the unfortunate wars and conflicts we've been in. And I think our youth should get an appreciation of what 18, 19-year-old guys did at Normandy.
Yeah.
In fact, some was 17.
Yeah.
Now just picture, you look at this field right now.
Yeah.
There's some guys here in their 20s. What would they be like landing in Normandy or jumping out of a plane?
Right.
Or in the Battle of the Bulge?
Yeah.
What do you do in that situation?
Right.
So I wrote about my family. I wrote about my experiences. My high school coach was a remarkable guy. I played on a team that won 58 straight games in high school.
You're just surrounded by winning.
I was lucky. I was
surrounded by winning.
a baseball catcher. And all my buddies were playing lacrosse and football, and I played football. And we never had lacrosse. I went to a parochial grade school, and I was a baseball catcher.
Yeah.
So
I was horrible at baseball. That's why I switched to
I
lacrosse.
love catching. In fact, I caught 2 guys who made the pros.
Oh, wow.
And I went into his office in December. I said, "You mind if I try lacrosse?" He said, "No, you're involved in baseball. And we don't like to take players from other sports."
Right.
And I walked out.
Yeah.
And he caught up to me. He said,
I'll hold it for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I got you.
He said, "I want to give you a lacrosse tape,
Yeah.
and you can play box lacrosse in the winter." So he talked about box lacrosse being the thing of today. We were doing that in the 50s, okay, on the tennis courts.
Right.
So, basically, I talk about that. I talk about my experiences at Maryland. I talk about my experiences in the Marine Corps. I talk about my coaching experience. No X's and O's. The next book I'm going to write is about X's and O's. And also what it took for our players to come to Cornell. How to pay tuition, how to have summer jobs. They didn't go to Cancun. They didn't go to Jamaica on vacation.
Right.
They were working laborers, you name it.
Yeah.
And the beauty is they made great sacrifices. And I think that's what made us champions. I know. We won 42 straight games in the 70s. And we just had a reunion of that whole group. 90% of the guys could get back. 2 guys were in Europe, so they couldn't get back. But we were together for 3 days.
Wow.
And,
Did they all buy your book?
yes. And the love,
Good.
and the love they have.
Yeah.
In fact, a number of years ago, I was asked by Lacrosse magazine to pick the all-time Cornell team.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent the guy 29 pages. He calls me up. He calls me up. He said, "You sent me 29 pages."
Yeah, well, there's
I said,
many.
that was every player.
Yeah.
Every player. And in the back of my book is every player.
Oh, wow.
So I never had an all-time team.
Wow.
And I didn't think it was fair because I was in there in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, and 50s. And there were great players there. So how do I overlook them
Right.
to pick people that played for me?
Right.
And I'm going to stay that way.
One of the guys in the back of that book is on the field today with
No question.
with
Max Sebald.
Team Israel, Max
Yeah,
Sebald.
yeah.
I mean,
What a
how
thrill.
cool is that to see? Well, and Bill Baroza too. I mean, he was a Team USA goalie indoor.
Yeah.
To see guys play for USA and now be representing Israel.
When Billy was a baby, I used to hold him in my arms. I'm serious. I was great
You
friends
think
with
you
him.
can hold him up now?
Not really. Not really. But what a remarkable goalie.
That's amazing story, and to be a part of the games so early and be part of international lacrosse so early, and then to be here today in the Middle East.
Yep.
I mean, what sort of change have you seen over the years in international lacrosse?
I think it's a lot more dedication.
Yeah.
Before it was sort of like get on a field and socialize after and have too many libations and try to play the next day.
A couple sodas.
Yeah, true. And now we don't have that.
Yeah.
We have great dedication. We have men that really dedicate themselves. I mean, it's tough playing 4 or 5 games in 9-10 days.
Oh, yeah.
You got to get your legs back.
In this heat, too?
I love it.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
See, I was a heat coach.
Yeah.
Marine Corps training.
Yeah.
We could run all day. So
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we could talk for days, right?
No
We could talk for days about lacrosse and your legacy. I really appreciate the time. I want you to enjoy the rest of this game and your time in Netanya. It's an amazing place.
It is.
And I'm sure you'll share some stories the rest of the days that you're here.
This is just the beginning. I can't wait
yeah.
to see those little boys and girls that I saw today
Oh, yeah.
get out on this field.
They will. I'll share a quick story with you. I was walking around the the field here, and one of the ball boys I stopped to talk to, and he's from a very rural city of Israel. And before, he said that sports were his enemy, and then he saw the sport of lacrosse, and everything became clear.
That's great. And one thing I want to leave you, wherever I do clinics, we usually have a parent session the night before, or sometimes during the weekend I'm there. And this woman raised her hand. She was from Mississippi, and it was in Austin, Texas. She said, my 11-year-old son, I have a training for him. Do you recommend that? I said, ma'am, I don't. I don't. I said, if you want your son to get strong, have him hug you, your husband, and his grandparents every day. He'll build his arms up, he'll build his chest up, and he'll build the love up that he has for these people. So forget the weights. So if you're lifting weights, give them up and hug your parents.
I love that. When I get back, I'm definitely going to hug my parents for sure. I really appreciate that.
I appreciate your help.
Thank
and
you.
listen, good luck with your career.
I appreciate it.
And I'd like you to get to the highest level that you possibly can in your life.
Awesome.
Really.
Awesome, Rich.
It's so nice that you had a championship at Loyola.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, moments that we'll never forget, right?
Don't forget them.
Yeah, never will.
Memories are special.
We got a couple of these too that we don't forget too, right? Yeah, really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. That's it for us for right now on Wingate 1. We have Canada Iroquois about to start right behind us. We'll be back right after the game. See you then.